The Wind Department. To get it off your chest radio talk show, Rick Jensen along with our David Adams. And with us on the phone, we have Jennifer Biddison from the National Center for Public Policy Research's Internet Technology Department. She's a consultant for that. And good morning and welcome to the program, Jennifer.
Thank you, Rick. I'm so glad to be on.
Hey, great to have you here with us this morning. Hopefully a lot warmer where you're at compared to here.
I think so. It's 63 degrees outside today. We're having a beautiful day.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I don't think we got to 6 yet.
It's one below, but we've warmed up 19 degrees in the last 4 hours.
Congratulations.
We're all giddy about it around here.
No way to start the week, right?
Yeah. Well, you got an interesting story here about the something called a luncheon. A luncheon. Apparently, the D.C. luncheon protests federal guidelines that denied a 4-year-old her Nana and juice box. What's this story all about?
Well, this is interesting. My organization actually has a permit to share Freedom Plaza with the Occupy D.C. protesters for about 6 weeks. And so every day we've been finding something new to take a stand on. Today they're protesting the bailout of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. But last week we were protesting this poor 4-year-old who brought in what looked like a very healthy lunch into her North Carolina pre-K program and was told it was not an appropriate lunch, and she was sent through the lunch line and got chicken nuggets. And she brought home her lunch untouched, and her mother asked what she ate and found out she'd gotten 3 chicken nuggets off of her tray and the rest had gone to waste. And so it's just atrocious. I mean, you have to assume that this has got to be, the most ridiculous example out there probably, but it just shows how government encroaches upon our life bit by bit by bit until something like this happens and you go, whoa, what have I been letting the government do all this time?
Well, exactly. Now, with the lunch that this young girl brought into school, it was I would say, a pretty healthy lunch compared to chicken nuggets.
It's a lot more healthy than what I usually eat. Turkey and cheese sandwich, a banana, a juice box, and a bag of chips.
Perfect.
So that, the mom thought, well, maybe it's the chips, but what it really needed was maybe a carton of milk or something. I mean, whatever they thought it needed, they just basically put pressure on her just to ditch the whole lunch and go through the lunch.
And she didn't get anything close to what she should have had then. I mean, the
all.
whole thing is just bizarre. I mean, if my kid came home and told me that story, I'd be so outraged. I don't know who I'd hit first. But something would have probably the wall.
The injury, they charged her for the lunch.
I know. I just
Wow.
So when you...
So, I mean, I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. They're both starting public school in the next few months. And I would just be outraged if I packed the healthiest lunch I thought my kid could eat because, 4-year-olds, notoriously picky.
Yeah.
She's doing the best job she can for her daughter. And instead of, pulling the parent aside, having a conference with the parent about something that they might have a problem with the lunch, they just, ditch the lunch altogether and send her through the lunch line. The mom finds out to a 4-year-old. I mean, I cringe to think how little control I suddenly have over my kids once I send them to school.
Well, sure, the government knows better than you. I mean, you don't know. You haven't gone through the test. You don't know. Whereas the government has done the testing, and they know better than you.
The thing that really gets me about that whole story is something you said that, they decided there was something about her lunch that didn't meet their qualifications. The heck with their qualifications. I don't need their qualifications to know what to pack my kids to send to school.
Right. And are they taking into account children's allergies?
No.
What these children will eat? I mean, obviously the only thing that kid would eat on the tray was the chicken nuggets. The mother knows best in terms of what her kid can eat and will eat. You're just overriding. I mean, we give the schools just a little bit of control to educate them, and they feel like they can take over every other aspect of their lives.
Well, and what's really, like you said, this is probably a semi-ridiculous example, but when you deal with the government, it's those ridiculous examples that seem to grow, because without somebody bringing this to the forefront, it wouldn't be long this would be happening everywhere, because they would see they have the power. We can take even their good lunch away and make them eat this and get money for our lunch program. We can count them for our lunch program so we get money back from Obama's stash so that we can pay for the lunch program. So take every kid's lunch away, no matter how good it is, because we can. That's their thought process.
Yeah, there's that budget deficit. Well, I'm sure North Carolina's facing this kid from destroying himself.
So when you
However, I mean, so they've taken this little bit of freedom that they had to step in and pushed and pushed and pushed so we get to this point.
So what happened on Thursday when you had this luncheon? What happened? What kind of responses did you get? What did you hear from people?
You know, it's interesting. I think everybody was a little bit crazed by this. You know, even my liberal friends would agree with me on this perspective because nobody wants government telling them how to parent their child, whether they're liberal, conservative, anywhere across the aisle. And so, you know, the occupiers were kind of getting in the way and trying to get the camera on themselves. But then when you talk with them about the issue, none of them are disagreeing with us. You know, the Weekly Standard grabbed it, and then the Drudge Report was publicizing that story, which is probably how it got to your ears, which is great because it was something small we could do. And all we did was dine. My coworker set out a nice tablecloth with candles, and my kids and I and a few other people sat there and dined on the exact same lunch that the child had had, and it was our way of thumbing the nose at government regulators who think they know best how to feed us.
Well, going forward, the thing that I see as we go forward is how do we get this government hand out of our back pockets? What do we do? Where do we go from here? I mean, okay, we had the protest, we brought the attention to people, but somewhere we have to get in the line someplace where we can actually stop this silliness from going. Where do you go? How do you stop something like that?
I think the squeakier we are, the more they pay us attention. We've already seen a lot of government officials pointing fingers at other people. Nobody can agree on whose fault it is. Finally, it comes down to this one poor teacher who they're now blaming.
Of course.
Because it can't go any higher than that. But look how much coverage this has gotten.
Well, sure.
You know, suddenly USDA is saying, no, we don't do that. We can't do that. And so hopefully people are going to hold them accountable to these statements.
Sure. So have you heard of any other schools that have been doing things like this down the pike here?
I've heard of some rumors. In fact, I think even within that school or within that school district, I've heard of this happening one other time. I don't know the details of that one.
Sure.